Yo, this is StyleKrong. We're here with another replay to review. Not exactly that excited about this one. I actually have run out of March replays. In other words, the replays that I kind of want to actually go over because they were exceptionally interesting games. I've kind of run out of those. So we're just going to take a look at this instead. I guess I won't even bother spoiling how it ends, because, I don't know, maybe it will be interesting if you don't know. But anyways, so the other team has a Cho'Gall. This was a quick match. Red team does not have a Cho'Gall. These are really interesting facts, by the way, if you didn't know. And, we have a Brightwing on our team, and the other team has a Brightwing on their team. And we have a Vala and a Nazeebo, whereas they have a Nova and a Gull for their sustained damage. So, looking at the laning right now, this laning down here actually was kind of interesting. The Brightwing Sonya versus the Nazeebo Muradin was kind of an interesting dynamic because Sonya by herself has a lot of self-sustain just through whirlwinding like that. If you couple that with Brightwing's passive healing, she's pretty much indestructible. Like, you can't push her out of this lane. She just has too much healing. But at the same time, Muradin has a lot of self-sustain in lane. He's like one of the best self-sustainers there is, because every time you go down below 50% HP, you just regen back. So it's really hard to shove a Muradin out of lane. And Nazeebo is really strong in lane because he can poke pretty much forever. The only downfall of Nazeebo is that his mana pool will run out if you're doing a lot of heavy harass. So I think overall the other team pretty much won that laning phase. Sonya in general is like quite a strong pick, I've been coming to find. I went over some of the patch notes from earlier versions of the game, and wow, holy fuck, that Sonya was ruthless right there. So I was going through to see what exactly made Sonya go from being a kind of hero that everybody thought was really weak and like a joke pick, and like pretty much Gazlowe tier, where it's just like you get laughed at if you're gonna hover over that choice. But again, I think the Sonya's going to pick up another kill here. Oh, Cho finishes it off. Not bad. So I was going through to see what kind of pushed her over the edge into being this kind of supreme, aggressive bruiser powerhouse that we have here right now. And one of the biggest changes, this also applied to the new Raynor. This is another reason why Raynor is now pretty much god tier, is that I'm not sure when it was a really long time ago, but they made a change to the way focused attacks, the talent functions. Let's see if anyone has yeah, right here, focused attacks. Focused attacks used to proc on any target that you hit, which would mean every 10 seconds your next basic attack would get increased damage. The problem with that was, if you were to attack a minion, it would spend your 10 seconds of needing to wait for your empowered attack. And in one of the patches, they changed that to being every 10 seconds your next basic attack against a hero, meaning that focused attacks will only activate on a hero, so you can't possibly waste it on minions. I think that pretty much made it to where in lane, people weren't wasting their focused attacks anymore without realizing it, and it was guaranteeing a lot of extra damage from basic attacks. And it might not look like it, but 75% additional damage is quite a lot for a single hit. So I think this is one of the reasons why Sonya is such a powerhouse right now, is just that focus attack change. But I think I have to go over some of her more specific changes at some point or another. As you can see, she's like top of the charts here. Like, she's got top siege, top hero, top XP contribution. She's almost got as much damage tanked as Cho, hasn't died yet. So like, really strong hero overall. He's kind of forced to back up here though. I think Sonya really benefits from having some aggressive healing, and by aggressive healing I mean like Gamey is really giving the chase there. I mean like Uther with the big burst heals, or Morales with super high healing numbers like up front, as opposed to overtime healing like Brightwing or Malfurion. So I don't know if Sonya exactly has the best setup to support her on this map right now, in this matchup. But I think she's pretty strong no matter what you do, but I think when you start getting up to higher levels of play, that it's kind of important to have at least a few heroes that synergize well with Sonya. I don't know if it's necessary to build an entire composition around her, but I think having at least a few heroes, particularly in the support department, is pretty nice to have if you're going to run a Sonya. Gotta focus Sonya, only thing that fucks me up, says Brightwing. So, red team is pretty much winning this team fight right now. And I think that's a result of their team not being really unified during this immortal phase. As you can see, Sonya is kind of just jumping in here, just all by herself. She's got nobody backing her up. Brightwing actually finally comes in, but it's like you've got this solo operative Nova over here. You've got Sonya pretty much operating by herself, and it kind of leaves Cho'Gall and Brightwing with not as much potential to assist their team as they could have if everyone was grouped up. So I think that might have been one of the reasons. Also, the Nazeebo harass during the immortal phase is incredibly annoying for another team to deal with, because Nazeebo can just stay on the outskirts of pretty much any fight, and there's pretty much nothing anyone can do to engage him. You can just keep poking the entire time, and he's beefy enough to where any damage he does take is not really that big of a deal. Here Sonya's chasing me. I don't think she didn't do anything there. But yeah, like, as you can see, I'm just like chasing the Cho'Gall. I'm gonna put a wall down there to block off Sonya from going after Vala. And then here I get my ultimate and just run away a little bit. But yeah, Nazeebo is pretty much insane. I think the only hard counter to Nazeebo that I've seen is Butcher, because as soon as Nazeebo goes into his poking range, Butcher can just activate his charge and completely close the gap. So I think Butcher is like one of the only really hard counters to Nazeebo. But I mean, even against a Butcher, Nazeebo still has options available to him to deal with the Butcher. So I mean, I just think Nazeebo is a really, really strong pick overall right now. I think you can pretty much put him in any composition and he'll work well. He's kind of like Jaina in that sense, in that he's just a wild card. You can put him in any team comp and he'll do work. You can put him in any comp and he'll do work, but you can also synergize him with a lot of heroes, which I don't think happened at this game. We don't really have anything that synergizes that well with Nazeebo. But if you pair something like Entangling Roots from Malfurion and like Psionic Storm, an area of effect that requires people to be locked down in that area to really have the damage dealt to them, you pair that with Nazeebo, who has the zombie wall, you can either use the zombie wall preemptively to set up your damage dealers to be able to deal their full amount of damage like Psystorm, or you can also alternatively wait to use the zombie wall if you have someone like Malfurion, and you can wait until they land in Entangling Roots or something and then land the guaranteed zombie wall. Because obviously if somebody is locked down and immobilized, they can't dodge the zombie wall. So it's really powerful as a follow-up crowd control. But if you can get lucky enough to have an enemy out of position to land the zombie wall initially, then it's powerful in its own right in just being able to deal a lot of damage and in most circumstances guarantee kills. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Their Sonya is still doing top hero damage and top siege, which is actually a little bit concerning, because Gall at this point should be getting pretty high up there on the chart, so I'm not exactly sure if their Gall was new or something. He might have been, but Gall usually has top siege and hero damage. It is still kind of early in the game. I think around level 16 Gall really spikes and becomes able to really put out the absolutely insane damage numbers that pretty much no other hero in the game can match. But I think up until that point he's got kind of mediocre numbers that they're powerful, but they're not over the top. He's kind of like Kel'Thas, or at least old Kel'Thas. The new Kel'Thas is actually doesn't really get as big a power spike at level 16 as he used to. That was a pretty nice haymaker, but yeah, we had to go like really ham to get into that position, and Brightwing is very easy to reposition with. I don't know what that positioning on that Brightwing was. That Brightwing was way up at the front for no reason. So I think that was kind of bad. But yeah, at this point, blue team has to pretty much defend and give up the objective because they've got an angry mob up here. So if they don't do that, then they just lose. So they're pretty much in that situation where there's almost no way they can win unless red team somehow manages to not close out the game with this immortal, which is very unlikely, but it is possible that that can happen. So we'll just watch up the last parts of this game. We have less than 4 minutes. Again, this is not that interesting of a replay overall. It was kind of a roll, or at least it felt that way. Even though upon looking at the replay, the enemy team's Sonya did quite well. So, I mean, she did die a lot though. So, I don't know. I think the Sonya did well, but pretty much everyone else on that team was kind of questionable in their performance. But yeah, overall the replay not that interesting, but there are some interesting things to be looked at, like the Sonya changes and how powerful she is now, like how strong Nazeebo poke is. And I'm not sure how Brightwing is doing, to be honest, as a support these days. Seems like a really situational pick. I think Brightwing hard counters Cho'Gall with the 2-for-1 polymorph. I think that's incredibly powerful. So I think as a choice pick, Brightwing could be pretty strong, but as a general healer, I just think there's so many better options out there right now that Brightwing is kind of not the best choice in most cases. I mean, she still works, but I think there's better options out there. Anyways, so that Immortal's coming down. Brightwing says, "Y'all are making my life tough." And then I'm pretty sure Stitches is like, "Wouldn't be fun if it was easy." And yeah, we're just gonna watch the Immortal march down the lane now. I'm pretty much out of stuff to talk about. I can't even hide the fact anymore. I'm like done. I actually like only got up a little while ago, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have any replays left. Well, I guess I better find something. And I mean, I don't know, pretty much any replay that you go over, there's like something you can learn from it, something you can like find examples of to back up arguments about whether something is strong or weak, even in like random quick match games like this. And I think I need to work a little bit on my solo Sonya play, because I don't know if I do that well on Sonya if I don't have like a dedicated support or something, but I think it's something I should probably practice, because she is definitely strong even as a solo hero without a comp to support her. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Hope it was at least interesting in some way. And I will see you guys next time, so take it easy.